Hi, and welcome to College Planning Untangled, where we help families simplify the college planning process by really just talking through all the things that go on in a household when we're planning for college and trying to figure it out. My name is Kristin Clark. I am what am I, Bobby? I'm a career exploration coach with
Mm,
teens and young adults. I help them figure out what they'd like to do for a career
excellent.
and what education path they need to get there.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we've got Bobby Hood. And Bobby, you want to talk about what you do?
Yeah, hi, I'm an SAT and ACT tutor as well as for the college tests for graduate school like GMAT and LSAT and MCAT. And I help students like get through these tests with a, moderate amount of effort, get the score that represents themselves and get the score that helps them open the doors to the different colleges and, and good financial aid and all of that.
Yeah. And you guys, I think Bobby hung the moon when it comes to these tests and how he works with the kids. So absolutely check him out. And Bobby, we've got kind of a different topic today to talk about.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I mean, like we always talk about how, we all recognize college isn't necessarily for everybody, right? But what you do is help students figure that out, right? Figure out what is right for them, right?
Right. And, I had an instance come up recently that the parents of a sophomore in college, his name's Ashton, they were insistent that he goes to college.
Mhm,
And Ashton was, when I first talked to him, he goes, Kristen, I have no idea why I need to go to college. He's like,
mhm.
I know that I want to be in real estate and I want to just get started. And, his parents had a different thought. They were very insistent that Ashton get a college education.
Mhm.
So so they were at a crossroads.
Yeah,
And
and
what
I
had
can understand
happened,
why a parent would say that, right? They just think, oh, that's how a lot of us are raised. Like, you're just going to go to college. You're going to go to college. But it's interesting that they're just saying you have to go to college, right? Like, they're not. I can understand then also why it's not that maybe isn't the right conversation, right? Because if you just tell a kid you have to do X, they're going to resist, right?
well, they are. And Bobby, I get it.
Mhm,
We do know that people that go to college typically make more money. They,
mhm,
have a little bit stronger leg to stand on in some situations when you're going to get a job. There are a
sure,
lot of great things to say about college.
right.
And I kind of look at this and go, you know what? No haters out there because the parents are willing to foot the bill
Yeah.
and they think it's important enough. So, it kind of is what it is. And
Mhm,
I'm a huge champion of what is the right education path based on what your
right.
goal is. But you know what? Those are the rules right now in this family, and I respect that. So,
Absolutely, but the thing is, if you just say that, just you have to go to college, right? Then you have got those statistics, right? I mean, you might then have a kid who's gonna just stop doing it, right? If they don't want to go, they'll just not go to class, right? I've
yeah.
known people that happened to, right?
And we talk about this a lot. The fact is, 30% of students that go off to college don't return after their freshman
Yeah.
year. And I think some of this could be the reason. It's
Mhm.
not all the reason, but that the kiddo's going, I don't know why I'm here.
Right. And it's more likely that you're going to be invested and want to continue and do well in classes if you know what you're there for and why you're doing it and how it's going to actually help you. And right.
Yes. And I can tell you, any of our viewers right now, guys, if you have comments about this,
Mhm.
please chime in. We would love to hear them. And I'm going to tell you the story of Ashton and where we ended up. So if you want to
Yeah.
chime in, please do. So for Ashton, Bobby, it was interesting because once he and I got talking, the not only did he have an interest in real estate,
Mhm.
but he also had an interest in owning a service center for high-end cars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was an interest of his. And he's like, man, he goes, I've got a buddy that's going to school to be a mechanic. I've got no interest in that piece of it. I would just love to run the business.
Hmm.
But here's the interesting part of this. Where we ended up is I said, Ashton, do you realize that these two things that you're really interested in, it really is saying you want to own your own business?
Yeah.
And he's like, hands down, absolutely. He goes, Kristen, that's where I want to be. And Bobby, I look at that and I go, okay, so we're seeing a pattern here.
Mhm.
And this is important. And it's important for parents to understand that Now we kind of look at this and go, wow, we ruled out a whole bunch of careers for Ashton
Sure.
in that he wants to be in charge.
Yep.
And where we ended up with him is, well, first I'm going to tell you. So I always tell you about the pie shape, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, we've got him squarely in the pie shape, where if these are all the careers that you could ever have, Ashton's squarely right here in being in business for himself.
Yeah.
So as we had those conversations, we ended up with, I said, Ashton, why would you not want to study business so that you can be very successful at owning your own business? And you could see the light bulbs go off, right? He started going, okay, tell me more about that, right?
Right.
And what was interesting is where Ashton is going to school, he is not able to get into the business school, but he doesn't want to change schools.
Right.
But he was able to get into the finance program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's great at math. And he's like, yes, he goes, that still fits. I get it. And the cool part is where Ashton goes to school, they actually have a real estate program. So he's going to get a minor in real estate.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And actually learn the things that will help him start this business and manage that business. And, and then having that degree, probably easier to get loans from people or from banks to start your own business and get people to hire you to intern in their business, right? And so you can learn about it, right? And as opposed to just somebody who just kind of walked out of high school and said, hey, I want to own my business.
Right. No, it absolutely supports all of that. The other piece of it is he can figure out if he truly wants to do this because he's getting more experience and more exposure.
Right. And so he can actually explore all the different careers that are available in there, and maybe he'll go a slightly different direction. Absolutely. But most importantly, though, right now, he's actually interested in being in college, or at least understands why there's a point in him being there. Right.
You're right. Yes. And I always call it being, he's settled, not in a bad way. He feels grounded,
right?
That he understands why he's there because there's a specific outcome for him now. Right. So there's not this fight anymore between mom and dad and kiddo. It's, I know why I'm here and I have a goal now that I'm trying to achieve. So he's excited. He's already signed up for some real estate classes. He's already signed up for some finance classes, and he feels like there's a pathway. Yeah. So
absolutely. Yeah. I can see how it should be just so easy. I think, if I can see how parents could have a student who's just saying, oh, I don't see any point in me going to college. And then them saying, but you have to go to college. And then trying to kind of ending the conversation there. That's not good for the student, right? You need to go this extra distance and you need to actually talk it out, discuss what your plans and aspirations for the future are. And this may be just a good situation where if you have a student who's kind of talking that way, that's a good time to enroll them with you, right? And start, talking about it, because a lot of times a third party is much better at getting this stuff out of a student and talking to them than a parent is at talking about the future, because the parent may be sitting there constantly saying, oh, I think you should be a doctor. I think you should be a lawyer. And then that just turns the student off. Right. But
well, it does. And you said a whole lot in that sentence, but I will tell you this, when I'm talking to parents about this subject, absolutely, you can try to do this at home. Sure. And I think the big key here, Bobby, is this is not one big decision they're making. Right. And that's, the kid gets really scared by this because they feel like if they screw it up, they are in, their life is done. And I always tell parents, I'm like, help them understand this isn't one big decision they're making. Remember how Ashton was in the pie shape.
Yeah.
So there are a whole lot of careers that can be in that pie shape. Yeah. And to your point, as he's going through school, he might not end up in real estate or owning a service center, but there are ideas within that area that he might get exposed to. So if we can expose them to all these things, he's still excited. He's still, is making minor adjustments, and he's not making this one big decision.
Oh, absolutely right. I mean, you know that there are 100, 1,000 things that he's going to be learning about, all of which could make him happy, and all of which that are in the areas that he's in, the things that make his eyes light up, right? And that's what it's all about. I mean, it is interesting. I could see, as an example, might have a student who is into playing music, right? And they might be just like, oh, I just, I've already got, I've already put out an album. I want to like go do my music career. And then parents are saying, no, I think you need to go to college. And, I had a student a couple of years ago in that situation. And so that student is at Berklee College of Music in Boston. So getting a music degree and actually getting a lot more advancement and putting out more albums while in school. And, and the parents are like, well, I mean, that's not a regular college degree, but it is, but this is that pathway. It's like, oh, hey, there's a college for that. I mean, there's a school for that. And, and that was a good compromise in that situation,
It is. And I think you've used a great word, compromise.
Mhm.
Now, all of a sudden, it's both of their ideas, both the parent and the kiddo that are going, you know what, we can both get something out of this.
Yeah.
And there's an end result. And I'm going to go back to, hey, listen, if parents see that, they're making a decision and they feel like their kid needs to go to college, then let's figure out how to make it equitable on both sides. And that we're the kid who's living this life
Mhm.
can at least understand what the benefit is to him and or her.
Absolutely.
So,
For sure. I think this is a really important topic. I mean, I think, every time I hear that, 30% of students don't go back, I think if I were having a kid who is graduating right now or getting near, I would want to do everything I can to not be part of that statistic, or at least to have the knowledge needed so that, we would be making that decision with open eyes. Right. So
yeah, absolutely.
Important.
Yeah. And give these kids every fighting chance that they have to be happy and feel like they're grounded and know why they're moving forward. Bobby, I always say this, when have you ever done a 4-year, 5-year, 6-year, possibly project and not known what the outcome is?
Right.
Their kids aren't any different.
Mhm.
They need that anchor. So that gives them that anchor to have these conversations. And it is just a conversation, probably multiple conversations, but helping them just start to understand what it is that they truly want to do and why. So
and that's part of the thing is, I mean, if you had sophomore or freshman, even, these are conversations to start. Don't start it in September of senior year of high school, right?
Yes, you're right now. And realizing too that they don't have to be these major, like, we've got to decide. If you start earlier, you get to have more conversations around
Exactly.
them.
You're just talking about it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this is great.
Right.
And I'd love to hear from people. If you have topics like this that you want us to address, you can always contact us. You can always fill out the contact form on my website, bobbyhoodonlinetutoring.com.
Yes. And we would love to hear from you.
All righty.
Okay.
See you
Thanks,
next week.
Bobby.
Bye.